Uh,
Okay. Thank you. Very good evening to everyone. This is Manish Arora from Faculty of Visual Arts, Banaras Hindu University. With me, very welcome to all of you and very good evening. A special welcome to Professor Ashish Pandey sir from School of Management, Indian Institute of Technology, Bombay, Mumbai. As you already everyone know about that, this is short-term certificate course under a Spark project from Government of India, Fundamental of Social Design, in association with Department of Applied Arts, Faculty of Visual Arts, Banaras Hindu University, Maryland Institute, College of Art, Department of Social Design, MICA, Baltimore, and Michigan State University. With us today, Professor Ashish Pandey sir is here. Now, Ashish Pandey sir, the professor and teaches organization behavior, organization development, human resource management, related subject. His research is in areas of positive psychological outcomes of yoga and mindfulness, interface of business and society, spirituality at workplace. Recognition to his research comes from the awards conferred to his work in the in the forums held at IISc Bangalore, IIM Indore, and Infosys Leadership Institute, Case Western Reserve University, Cleveland. His research papers, inventory, and approach notes have appeared in several leading international journals and periodicals like Journal of Business Ethics, European Review, Journal of European Industrial Training, Business Review, etc. Along with research and development, he has been regularly involved in training and consulting work in the areas of leadership development, organization development, and institution building and faculty development. His major long-term training and consulting assignments had been with ACG Worldwide, anchored by Panasonic, Axis Bank, General Mills, Tom Shipping, Shipping Corporation of India, EPA, VFS Global, etc. And institutions like IIM Ahmedabad, Institute of Chemical Technology, Mathura, Bhimrao Ambedkar Technology University, KIIT University, Bhubaneswar, etc. Now I am again welcoming the Professor Ashish sir for today's lecture on the sustainability development and management of change. Sir, requesting you to please start the session.
okay. So thanks very much, Manish ji, for inviting me for this interaction. Thanks to Dr. Ajanta ji for being mentor to many of us and being the friend and uh, friend and mentor for this program. In the next 1 hour, we are going to look at issues of sustainable development, issues of development, uh, and how the management field has to contribute in it, and it is contributing in it. So this, you can say, the session is at the interface of the corporate world and the social development field. Many a time we think that corporations are responsible for uh, uh, causing pollutions, increasing inequality, uh, creating stress and anxiety in the lives of the people who work with them. Uh, but we will also look at the examples of the corporations which are doing opposite to that. And they are the harbinger of the new form of corporates, new form of business organizations. As I see it, social entrepreneurship is the future of entrepreneurship and business both. The future of management lies in social entrepreneurship. And that is the only entrepreneurship we are going to be sustainable in the years to come. So we'll look at this concept a little more systematically in this 1 hour. And I hope that there will be some discussion after I put forth some of my points. I would like to start with few examples of the corporations, and would like to invite your reflections on what is common across these organizations. So this organization, this example is of a electric supply company called Gram Power. Now, Gram Power is special because it generates electricity through the microgrids, and those microgrids are solar powered. They set up these grids and then they supply electricity to the far off villages in the uh, deserts of Rajasthan. So there are stretches of the desert where small hamlets are there, only few homes um, in the being constructed, being there uh, at the distance of several kilometers. It is certainly not commercially viable to supply electricity to those villages with our conventional means, hydroelectric power, all the stretches of the electric supply wires, and several power grids, and making them available. And if some problem happens, the availability of staff to rectify those problems, all that is very difficult uh, in the process of electricity supply at these places. So Gram Power is special in a sense that they have set up the microgrids, solar power based microgrids, close to those hamlets, and through those small those microgrids, electricity supply is done to the villages. But that is not the only problem in the electricity supply in India. Another problem in the electricity supply is that people many a time do not want to pay for the electricity, or sometimes they don't have enough money to pay for the electricity. To address this second problem, they developed the uh, prepaid card kind of product. So you do not consume power and then pay for it. It's a prepaid system. What Gram Power has adopted. So they sell the prepaid cards, and you scratch that card, you put that number, and electricity is made available for that amount of monetary power, monetary value. If you need to continue, you need to purchase another card. So microgrid and having the prepaid electricity cards, these are the two very socially sensitive innovation being done by Gram Power. So no wonder Gram Power was awarded Aim to Flourish Award by the Fowler Center in the Case Western Reserve University in Cleveland. And apart from that, they have been given many other awards as well. Second example I would like to take of Cipla. When most of the companies which have discovered and manufactured the AIDS medicine, the big pharma company, they were selling the big pharma company at few hundred, at the price point of the few $100s per week, and that was the price they decided. But for the AIDS medicine, but if you look at where the AIDS patients were, most of the AIDS patients were in Africa, and they were not capable of paying that much price. So this was a clear mismatch between what market was offering and what these customers or the people who need that product were capable of paying. So here you see that market failure and the regulations and governance failure, that is the interface, that is the point at which the social design become important. Cipla build a cocktail, they start selling that cocktail at the price point which was lesser than 1/10 of what is being offered at by the big pharma companies. They faced litigation in WTO, but they won those litigations. And the Cipla stance was validated by the international forums. And this was another example of the social design combined with the uh, bold pricing that resulted into the medicine that resulted into the availability of the medicine to the people who needed the most, but they had very low payment capability. Third example I will take of the Patanjali. Now, Patanjali, that uh, Ayurvedic product company, they have not only made the Ayurvedic products available at the price which was slightly lesser than the market price of the comparable product, they have made this available to the masses. And major saving they were able to do based on their yoga intervention. So the Patanjali and the founder of Patanjali, this company, they do not ask people to purchase these medicines. They say, please do yoga, and a lot of uh, freely available content is being created by them. A lot of programs is being offered by the founder of Patanjali on the yoga based intervention, yoga based practices. And they say that if after doing yoga, after following some of the health norms, healthy habits, if still there is an ailment, try our Ayurvedic medicine. And the channel partners of this company are those who are immensely benefited not only by their medicine but by their yoga practices. And because of this commitment, this is one of the reasons they are able to have very committed channel partners. And as a result of that, they are able to give the competition, they were able to give the dent in the market share of a very famous, very reputed, very well established toothpaste multinational company in India. They have not only popularized Ayurvedic product, they have also popularized Ayurveda as such. And with the emergence of the Patanjali, many other Ayurvedic firms also are benefited, and the overall market size has increased. Third example I would like to give of ITC Paper Mill. Now, ITC Paper Mill in 99 or 98 was on the verge of closure. CEO of this company was asked by the board and by the chairman to do something, or the company had or it was conveyed to him that the company will be shut down and we will wind up the business because we can't keep on making losses year after year. In that 1 year, that reflection point came. The different kind of social design emerged to run the paperboard business. ITC Paper Mill collaborated hundreds and thousands of farmer families in the Odisha and MP and the adjoining borders of the Odisha and MP. Hundreds of villages they approached and they made their partners for the collection of the pulp, which is the ingredient, which is the core ingredient of paper manufacturing. Because of this networking, because of the social forestry, and they gave them the training, they build awareness, they convince these people to give their output, give their collection, the agro product, which was in the form of the pulp, to the company. They convince these people, and with that, on the foundation of that partnership, the new business and their business revived. After few years of ITC Paper Mill kept working on this model, some other paper mills went to that village, those villages, offering more money to the same output, same agro products to the villagers, and villagers did not give their products to them because ITC by that time made such a strong bonding with these villages. So this is another example where business was developed, business was evolved, business was saved with the social intervention. And that is another fantastic example of the social design. My third example comes from iFarm. This is a company which provides the integrated solution to the farmers, particularly the farmers who are into the vegetable production, vegetable cultivation or the fruit cultivation. They not only purchase the fruits, they not only purchase the agricultural produce from the farmers, their association with the farmer goes far before the final product, final agro product they purchase from the farmers. They have close collaboration with large number of farmers, and they provide them guidance and mentoring to for the cultivation of the vegetable and the fruits. They also provide them small loans if need be to meet the immediate requirement. Because of this close partnership with the farmers, and it is not the only, they also own their own farms. They make them. They also use the mechanism of the contract farming. They have their own storehouses as well. But this model, which is combination of they owning, having the contract farming, and also having close collaboration with the farmers, has resulted in their success. That has not only was good for their balance sheet, but it was immensely benefited for the farmers whom they were working with. Then there is another example of, again, another social design. The social design is probably known to all of us. That is the Amul. That is a different kind of social design, wherein the milk produce was first collected, and because of the power of collection, because of the power of society and community, they were not only able to sell the milk, but they were also able to have the high value product based on using milk as the raw material. So Amul story is known to everybody in India, at least. And looking at that story, now in the most of the states in India has their milk society and milk federations, milk producing cooperative societies in their states. So in Madhya Pradesh, there is Sanchi. In Maharashtra, there is RA. Likewise, there are societies being created in all across the world in different states as well. This is another kind of the social design which has been a great partner to bring white revolution in India. In all these examples we see, these are not the non-government organization. These are not the social service organization. All are for the technical purposes, are for-profit organizations. They do not sustain, they do not operate on the charity. They do not operate on donations. They sell the product, and that is actually contributing to the social development and the sustainable development. So when we say social design in business, we are talking about these kind of business models. Why we need these kind of business models? We need these kind of business models because Earth carrying capacity means the ability of planet Earth to process the waste being created, and the its carrying capacity has surpassed the permissible limit of 1. What is that means? We create that much waste through our uh, production activities on our planet that we need 1.5 Earths to dispose of the waste being created in the process. So that is the indicator of the carrying capacity. Living Earth indicator, living planet indicator gives the carrying capacity and give these scores to the different countries as well. So looking at the country's score, we can say, okay, how many Earths will be required? How many planet Earths to be required to process or dispose of the waste being created by the planet Earth if average consumption of the whole Earth's population becomes equivalent to the average consumption of the citizens of that particular country. So, according to that parameter, India's Earth carrying capacity, India is operating at the Earth carrying capacity of 1, and USA is operating at the Earth carrying capacity of 10. That means if everybody on this planet Earth starts consuming equivalent to the consumption made by the average American, we will need 10 Earths to dispose of the waste being created in the process. We should not feel very proud of the score of 1 of India, because in India, the uh, disparity, economic disparity, and the consumption disparity is also very, very high. So India's rich, they consume equivalent to the American average population or Americans' rich population. So that is the indicator of 1.5. So if I have to understand what we are doing to our planet, we need to remember these figures 1.5, 2.5, and 3. And I'm going to just share what is the meaning of this. So first 1.5 means Earth is operating at the carrying capacity of 1.5. Then comes 2.5. That is the indicator of the inequality prevalent in the world. So 2.5 is the number indicating the billion population. Since last at least 4 decades, the number of poor, number of people working on the below the poverty line in the world are 2.5 billions. So there are large number of people being moved out of the poverty line, moved out of the clutches of the poverty in many countries, including China and India, but still across the world, 2.5 billion people are operating below the poverty. They don't have shelter, they don't have enough food. That is the situation of the economic and social divide in our society. In India, about 10%, 11% people own 85% of the total wealth. In USA, that percentage is even more skewed. That is the situation of the economic inequality. Third indicator, which Kramer and Coffer call inner cultural and spiritual divide, that is talking about 3 times of people are dying because of the depression and mental disorders. And what of 3 times? The total number of people dying because of the mental disorder, their ability of not being able to find meaning and purpose in life and in work, that number is surpassed great deal. The total number of people dying in the accidents, terrorist attacks, and wars in the world. So we all read in the newspaper news about terrorism, about war, and about accident. Not a single life should be lost for any of these causes. That must be recognized. However, the total number of people losing their life is 3 times because of the mental disorder. It is thrice of the total number of people dying because of the accident, wars, and terrorist attacks in the world. So that is the state of planet. In this state, we need to seriously think about what is needed on this planet. And corporations have to play a very important role. And that's where the social design plays very important role. Business organizations have to play very important role. Because wherever we are sitting, in our homes, or if I'm on the road, just look around for a second. Just look around in your room and you will not see even a single thing which is not produced by organization. Anything you see in your room or in the garden or on the road you are currently at, you will see that everything you are able to see is result of the organized efforts. That's why business organizations have very important role to play. And that's why we need a different kind of social design. We need different kind of social sensitivity ingrained in the business processes. This cannot happen immediately. This cannot happen immediately. It has to happen in the grades. So now we will look at how in the different degrees business organizations can incorporate the logic of sustainability. And when we say sustainability, it means natural environment as well as social environment. How this logic can be integrated in the business model. General integrating the socially sensitive design in the business model is that producing green product places us in the disadvantageous position vis-a-vis our rivals. Another impression is that suppliers cannot provide green inputs or cannot provide the transparency. So it is difficult to achieve sustainability in the business. Sustainable manufacturing demands additional investment in technologies and equipment, and that may cause investment. That may require investment. And customers will not pay for eco-friendly product during these times of recession. These are some of the impressions being conveyed or being formed against including sustainability logic in business activities. But there are many organizations, and we will be looking at many more examples where they have challenged these assumptions, successfully challenged these assumptions, and are able to offer product and services which are really valuable to the customers. Customers like those products, they go for those products, and these companies still remain profitable. So first thing is, so these are the 5 stages which are being taken from this paper. First stage is viewing compliance as opportunity. Instead of looking at compliance as a problem, if we look at a business opportunity, new businesses can be created. So the social design, which looks at compliance of the sustainability related norms as an opportunity, that's the first thing about the successful social design. So here the example is given like voluntary codes at time precedes regulatory requirement. Greenhouse gas protocol, forest stewardship council code, electronic product environmental assessment tools. These all are the codes developed by different professional bodies about their activities, forest stewardship, electronic product environment assessment, etc. And these codes came before regulations came. And as a result of that, those companies which took upon these, the company which followed these codes before it became regulatory requirement, they became market leaders when regulations came up. So the organizations, the most successful organizations are those which are following the highest standard in all markets instead of the basic requirement. So even if the Indian market do not demand that high level of the environmental friendliness, those companies, and the more responsible companies are following the norms even well beyond the regulatory requirement, because regulatory requirement anyways comes after a few years. But when a company is following the norms, higher norms, more sophisticated norms, even before it becomes the regulatory requirement, it gives them edge, and customers are able to trust them more, and their business is benefited. The example of HP comes, they developed the lead, a substitute of lead in the shoulder much before it became the regulatory requirement. And the benefit was that when it became a regulatory requirement, they were market leaders, because other players have to spend time, maybe years, to learn that technology and master on that. Similarly, HP, Sony, Braun, and Electrolux, they developed a joint platform for electronic recycling. And as a result of that, they were able to take up this, they learned the tricks of the trade when it became regulatory. Second stage is making the value chain sustainable. We look at the examples of Cargill and Hindustan Unilever in this category. What is it about? It is about a focus on reducing the consumption of non-renewable resources. So the drive to adopt environmental friendly processes move from manufacturing to supply chain. Organizations at this stage work with suppliers and retailers to supply and adopt eco-friendly products and processes. Cargill and Unilever, before it became compulsory, before it became more accepted norms at the marketplace, they decided that their whole supply chain will be sustainable. And that sustainability included the social norms as well as environmental norms. They were able to make their whole of supply chain green. That was a great achievement. Third stage of any company is when they design sustainable products and services. At this stage, organizations aim at catering to the environmentally conscious customer with sustainable and eco-friendly products and services. Example of P&G is given here. The P&G developed the cold water, the washing powders which would work in the cold water. How come that design came up? Design came up with their reflection, and P&G has got a very fantastic process of crowd innovation. So they spent 3 days as an organization where everybody joins and they develop the ideas of the future products. In one of these sessions, they thought that if we have to be more sustainable, if we have to be more environmental friendly, we need to do something about the power consumption we make, power consumption made in washing the cloth using our products. So when the household survey was done, it was found that 10% of the electricity bill is caused by the washing machines. For heating and washing machine, major electric consumption in the washing machine is done because of for the heating of the water. So they said that if we develop a product which do not require heated water, which doesn't require warm or hot water, we can help economy, we can help the country, we can help the planet to save that much energy. They developed that product, and as a result, they were able to contribute to the energy consumption and energy saving. Similarly, there are examples of organizations, Sierra Club, Greenwork, where P&G is closely collaborating to develop the products which are more environmental friendly. And it's no wonder that when people work in the organizations which are perceived to be, which are genuinely responsible, people, the engagement, employee engagement happens to be higher in these organizations. And that is reflected in the PNG's engagement surveys. Fourth way is developing new business models which operate on the sustainability logic. Here we give the example of FedEx, which in collaboration with the Kinko print shop, they started delivering the document in the print form. And so documents are printed at the delivery point. Some of the documents which do not require that kind of originality, they shifted to this process. Another very interesting example in this category of Celera. This Celera is a company which is based on the logic of biomimicry. Biomimicry is a process of conducting some business or conducting some human process based on the learnings drawn from the nature. So what is the learning being drawn by Celera from nature? The learning was that in the sea, there are many organisms which naturally, of course, produce cement, like seashells is a kind of a cement. So if some organisms can develop the cements and build their outer organs or the covering of the organs, why can't, as an organization, we can do that? So Celera developed a technology wherein they purchase the CO2 from the industry, run it through certain chemical processes in the seawater, and in that process, they started manufacturing the cement. The cement doesn't happen to be of very high quality, which can be used in the high-rise building, construction of the high-rise building, but it is certainly very useful to make the parking lots, etc. And interestingly, and here comes another very interesting aspect of the social design, they do not charge their customers who use the cement. So they give cement for free, and in certain kind of manufacturing, in certain kind of construction activity, this cement is useful. So they give the cement to the manufacturers free, but they charge from the companies from whom they purchase carbon dioxide, because that is the basis of the carbon credits. Altogether new business model in the cement industry, which also has very positive impact on the electrical consumption as well. Positive impact means it uses much lesser electricity in manufacturing this cement. Creating next practice platform. Social design need to look at how we can change the business model, how we can build a next practice. Smart grid technology, emerging field of social entrepreneurship are the examples of creating next practice platform. So when we looked at the example of gram power, or when we looked at the example of iFarm or Amul, these are the examples of the next practices. Social entrepreneurship is not about working on the charity. Social thing is about developing a business model which works on the technology, which works on the business model where profit is also earned. That's why it is sustainable. What it requires in the human terms to design this kind of business requires deep listening. The model given by Schremer in his book Presence beautifully captures this element of deep listening. That starts with suspending the judgment and seeing what is going on, sensing the transforming perception. From suspending comes redirecting our thinking. Because initially our thinking is that, okay, sustainability and business do not go hand in hand. But when we suspend that judgment, when we are able to see how things can happen, we can redirect that learning and we can redirect our vision. That leads to presencing, calming of mind. And that is the foundation, that is the basis on which new insights emerge. These new insights come from that envisioning, which is possible only with the calm mind. That leads to prototyping and institutionalizing. So, that is the deeper psychological process behind this social design. This is explained by Schremer in the form of 4 levels of listening. The level 1 listening is habitual listening, we just hear. Second level of listening is more precise. It is from outside, but it's more precise listening, noticing the difference. And that requires opening up of mind. Third level listening, Shema says, is not only about opening up the mind, is about opening our heart. That is empathic listening. It is listening from within. That empathic listening requires emotional connection, deep understanding. That comes if we are able to digest the discomforting data. That happens in listening 2. And after listening 3 emerges generative listening. That's where we are able to see the connection, connecting to the presence of emerging future possibilities. So examples we looked at of the social entrepreneurship are the examples of the future. These are examples of the future possibilities where businesses are not causing social inequality, businesses are not causing the meaninglessness, businesses are not causing the environmental degradation. I am reminded of the statement of one president of Toyota when he was asked, "What is your idea about the future of car?" And this interview was published in the HBR, Harvard Business Review, in 2010, I think 2007 or 8. He said, "My vision for the car is that cars are cause of the accident. There are a lot of accident happens and with cars, and they make people sick and more they drive it, etc." So he said that my idea about future of car is the, the future of car is which can prevent accident on road and which makes people healthier more they drive it, and which cleans the environment. So that is a very different way of looking at business. And if you want to know more about such organizations, if you want to know more about such organizations which are altering the paradigm of business, I strongly recommend all of you to look at a website, Aim to Flourish, AIM, numerical to flourish. This website is hosted by a Fowler Center of the Case Western Reserve University. On this website, you can see hundreds, not hundreds. Now, there are thousands of small business models which are not causing inequality or environmental degradation. These are preventing environment. These are helping in addressing the social inequality, economic inequality. And you will see on the Aim to Flourish website that these business models are mapped against 17 sustainability goals. So they are helping the planet to achieve sustainability. That is very much possible. Whenever you feel down, whenever you feel disheartened, and you think that, okay, it is very difficult to pursue these social designs which can do good to our planet and still can be profitable, I strongly recommend, please go to that website and read about those business models. These models are present in all across the world. So you will see models from India, from Africa, and you will also see models from USA, from Europe. Everywhere we need these models. Everywhere we need these kind of uh, uh, social design being integrated in the business. So basically, social design is about challenging some basic assumptions. Assumptions like efficiency is not operational in nature. Efficiency is not only about having my input and giving the output which I can sell. Efficiency is also about what do I do to the planet in the process. So it is not only sufficient for business to identify solutions. Business have to identify elegant solutions which do good to the planet as well, along with serving the customers. Second assumption we need to examine is growth in business is not the only success parameters. You will see some business models which are not scalable. That is also fine. In some situations, you can have business models which are scalable. That is also wonderful. We need all types of business models, models which are very localized, which are difficult to scale up, which are difficult to be implemented in other parts of the world. There are some interesting work happening in terms of the business, social business in the Delta of Sundarban in India. That may not be applicable in Mumbai. That may not be applicable in Ahmedabad. That is also fine. But there are some business models which can be applied across the world. It can be applied in different geographical regions. We need to understand that. So it is not only the growth. Growth is not the only success parameter. This CSR is based on the leftover hypothesis. When corporation do meet all their expenses, the leftover money, some portion of the leftover money can be given for the CSR. Planet cannot be saved by this leftover hypothesis. Planet can be saved only when businesses ingrain sustainability, businesses ingrain sense of responsibility in the model itself. Sustainable development efforts is for protecting the nature. This is not the correct assumption. Sustainable development efforts are protecting humanity, protecting human race. If human race is erased, no other species will be hurt. Though if some is any other species is erased from the planet, our whole ecosystem will be disturbed. So we should understand that whatever the social design thinking we are doing in the business is not to save the planet, it is saved to humanity, is saved to the human race. It is for saving the human race. Individual success may be leading us to the collective failure. And I'm saying this with the conscious, with a caution and also with the responsibility. If you see, most I teach in the business school, which is part of the Indian Institute of Technology, which is again Allied Institute. I don't have any issue, and I'm no one to raise any objection about our students joining companies which are primarily driven by financial ideals. But we need to also look at that what we consider success in life, going to good college, owning a car, purchasing a flat in a posh locality as soon as possible, having not one but two luxury cars at home, all these are the indicators of success in our society. And many of us are able to achieve those success. But in turn, what is the kind of organizations we have created? Lot of organizations which are being created in the process where many of our students are working are the organizations which are at the source of increasing inequality, which are at the source of environmental degradation, which are at the source of increasing socio-cultural divide in the society. So we need to look at, that's why looking at those, my observation is that, and the question, it's rather a question that doesn't individuals, isn't individual success is leading to collective failure. Collective as a planet, we are failing. And that has to be questioned. For-profit organization may not only for the profit. The sustainable social design we incorporate in the social entrepreneurial organizations question this assumption that for-profit organizations can be responsible organizations, can be the organizations which build sustainability, which enhance sustainability. So if we look at the social enterprises, that is about applying this thinking in the business. And there is a growing interest from the policymakers, young people, entrepreneurs, funders, established businesses. They are looking for supporting the social enterprises. We need to understand these are the result of the failure of market. Those SE are led by a sense of social purpose and aim to show that businesses and markets can deliver social benefits and tackle the intractable social problems. Solution to many problems like poverty, unemployment, environment, degradation depend on changing the way markets work. And markets often take more account of obvious and short-term costs and benefits and are less effective in accounting for the long-term factors like climate change. Social enterprises are one vital source of the new business approaches which can look at the long-term perspective of business. Government and market failure both are resulting into recognition to the social enterprise. The way social enterprise operate are often, at least implicitly, is a critique of the limitation of the public service provisions. States find it more and more difficult to cope with diversity of needs of the users. Public services they can be paternalistic, encouraging dependency culture in which people are treated and come to see themselves as recipient of solution, not creator of the solutions. Social enterprise addresses the weakness of government as well, because it makes people not recipient of the solution, but it make people to see the source of the solutions, responsible for creating the solution, creator of the solutions. So based on these, we can look at the classification of the social enterprises in an economy. So we have in one level, mainstream business, then we have socially responsible business, then we have social enterprises, then we have public services, and then we have volunteerism. We need to distinguish all these five. So towards the end of the session, I wish to spend a few minutes on distinguishing social enterprises with all four other enterprises. In terms of the inputs, finance, and resources, mainstream business looks at financial and commodity market. Social responsible business look at financial and commodity market. Social enterprise look at ethical investment and fair trade sources. Whereas public service looks for tax and borrowing, public employment, and volunteerism, they look at donation, charity, etc. as their input. Process for social enterprise is heavily biased towards social inclusion and environmental objectives. So they transfer their benefits, they transfer their profit for social cause or to build their business. They do not transfer it to the shareholders. That is the clear definition given by Professor Mohammad Yunus. Whereas socially responsible business, they pay greater attention to supply chain management for ethical and environmental issues. And mainstream businesses look at value chain, lean production, just in time as the process ideals. Public service looks at value chain combined with the contracting out. Volunteering looks at the social projects. For the social enterprises, output or consumer market are green, fair trade, social inclusion practices, which are the central to the brands. Whereas mainstream business look at consumer market, selling on a price, quality and brand as an outcome, whereas socially responsible businesses look at green and fair trade for their customers. Social value claim of social enterprises happen to be social goals. The success of social enterprise is assessed not based on how much profit they make. The social value claim of the social enterprises, what they have done, how they have contributed the planet to achieve the sustainability goals. Whereas we all know that mainstream business, social value claim is about business generating jobs and profit. And socially responsible businesses also look for social goals built on better business. But for social enterprises, sustainability goals are their business goals. This is not one of the nice things. It is the core of their business. So these are few examples which we looked at, and based on these, we can distinguish the social enterprises with the so-called mainstream enterprises or socially responsible enterprises. I have already shared the CSR is not the way of creating social enterprises. It requires altogether different business models where sustainability, social sustainability and environmental sustainability is ingrained in their business model. The good news is, the bad news was that social inequality, meaninglessness, and environmental degradation is reaching at the higher and higher level. But good news is there are hundreds and thousands of businesses which are addressing these issues, and these concerns are integrated in their business model. If you want to know more about these businesses, if you want to read about more and more of such businesses where this social design is operational, where this social design is integrated, developed, and being worked upon, it is being applied, please visit Aim to Flourish website, Aim to Flourish/innovation, and you will get so many of such enterprises. This will certainly inspire you, and it can also give you idea for your social enterprise, for your project in social design. So thank you very much for your attention. Wish you all very best in creating value not only for yourself but for the whole planet. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Sir, is there anything else? Some questions are already came from the participants. I all forwarded to you one or two questions. If possible, if you have WhatsApp, otherwise I can read it.
Okay, on the WhatsApp, okay.
I just sent it.
Hmm. Okay, so this question is about the Cipla is the name of, no, Cipla is not the name of medicine. Cipla is the name of company. They have, so there is a very famous case of AIDS medicine. So AIDS medicine, when it was launched by a big pharma company, it was priced very high, which was not affordable to the customers who are basically the patients of AIDS in Africa. So Cipla is the company which created the cocktail of the three medicines and sold that medicine at much lower price, which was actually affordable to the patients. So and that's how they have gave a social logic to their business, and their stand was supported by WTO and in the UN as well. So this is one question I saw, Manishji.
Yes, sir. Question is there. Thank you, sir. Thank you for your very valuable inputs with the current and contemporary case studies with the different enterprises and sorry, because lecture is very say lecture is very encouraging us and very resourceful also because you taken lots of references from the current scenario also. Thank you for your valuable time. Hopefully, we will again meet in any other program also. Thank you, sir, and thank you, participants. If you have any questions, please send to me, and I will forward to sir, and according to that, I will reply. Thank you, everyone, for participation in this 3-month part-time certificate course, Fundamental of Social Design, in association with Banaras Hindu University, Maryland Institute College of Art, and Michigan State University. Thank you, everyone. Take care.